Have you ever wondered, what truly determines whether someone can live a long and healthy life after 75? It's not good genes. It's not necessarily money. And it's certainly not just luck. It's the small habits you still keep every single day. Some people, after turning 75, begin to slow down. Their memory fades. They retreat quietly into their own world. But others, at that same age, still walk gently through the park each morning, still chat joyfully with neighbors, still read, write, and even learn something new. Do you know the difference between them? It lies in the habits they refuse to give up, those small, seemingly simple things that keep the body flexible, the mind sharp, and the spirit vibrant, like they're still 50. In today's video, Senior Life 365 will take you through 5 such habits. Each one is reflected in a real person, a grandparent, an elder, who has overcome the struggles of aging through the power of perseverance. And you'll see, as long as you still hold on to these habits, turning 75 isn't the end. It's the beginning of a decade of healthy, joyful, and deeply meaningful living. Watch this video to the end because I believe you'll see a part of yourself in these stories, and just maybe, you'll find the motivation to keep living well each and every day. 1. You still maintain the habit of walking every day, whether it's sunny or lightly raining. At 76 years old, Mr. Harold, living in Portland, Oregon, has kept the same habit for nearly 30 years. Every morning, he walks around the neighborhood for 25 minutes, no matter how cold the winter or how long the drizzles last. With his old but sturdy shoes, he walks slowly yet steadily, often stopping to greet neighbors or admire the blooming flowers along the fence. When asked why he still keeps this habit at nearly 80, Harold simply smiled and said, "I walk because I don't want my body to think it's retired." You see, walking isn't some grand athletic feat, but this consistent act is actually a golden key to longevity. According to a study from Harvard University, people over 70 who walk at least 20 minutes a day can reduce their risk of early death by up to 39%, while naturally improving memory, blood pressure, and mood. Walking helps circulate blood, keeps the heart beating regularly, and especially when done outdoors, early morning sunlight helps the body synthesize vitamin D, strengthening bones and joints. But most importantly, walking gives you a sense that you're actively living, that you're doing something good for yourself. And that nourishes your spirit every day. If you're still able to walk, cherish that habit like a treasured gift. And if you've let it slip, don't worry, you can start again tomorrow morning. Even just 5 minutes in your backyard or 2 laps around the neighborhood park is already a beginning toward a healthier, longer life. Give it a try. And leave a comment below telling us how long you walked today. We'd love to cheer you on in this journey. 2. You still remember small daily details like names, appointments, and to-do lists. Ms. Dorothy, 78 years old, lives in a quiet suburb of Minnesota. Every morning she brews a cup of chamomile tea, opens a small blue notebook, and begins writing down 3 things: what day it is, what she needs to do today, and what she accomplished yesterday. Nothing too big. Call my daughter, water the plants, or bake cookies for the neighbor. But every task matters. What surprised her doctor most is that Dorothy's memory remains as sharp as when she was in her 60s. She remembers the names of her friends' grandchildren, old phone numbers, and can still recall details from a book she read 10 years ago. Not because she has a superhuman memory, but because she trains her brain every day with small, consistent habits. Science shows that being able to recall everyday details, like the name of someone you just met, an upcoming appointment, or where you placed your keys, is one of the strongest signs that your brain is aging well compared to your peers. According to a study from Yale University, older adults who can remember routine activities are up to 60% less likely to develop mild cognitive impairment, MSCI, a precursor to dementia. You don't have to remember everything, but if you can still recall who called you last week, what you had for dinner yesterday, or whose birthday it is today, that's your brain quietly telling you, I'm still strong, I'm still with you. If your memory is still good, be grateful and nurture it with habits like journaling, reading, taking notes, or simply retelling yesterday's events to someone else. And if you feel your memory has begun to slip, don't panic. Start with a small notebook. Write just a few lines each day. Your brain will thank you with clarity that lasts for many more years. Have you found a trick that helps you remember things better? Share it in the comments. Your small tip might help someone else, somewhere across the country, live a sharper and healthier life. 3. You can clearly keep track of time in your daily rhythms without confusing days or times of day. Mr. Arthur, 81 years old, lives alone in a suburb of Seattle. Every morning he knows exactly what day it is, what he plans to do, and whether he has a coffee date that afternoon. It may sound simple, but for many people at his age, things gradually become blurry. Days slip by unnoticed. Morning and evening lose meaning, and sometimes they even forget what day it was just yesterday. But Arthur is different. He keeps a small clock on his TV stand and a desk calendar where he carefully marks each day. Every morning he tells himself, "Today is a new day. I'm still alive, and there are things to do." What's remarkable, according to neurologists at Stanford University, is that maintaining a clear awareness of time, especially the ability to orient oneself to the day, time, and schedule, is a critically important factor in keeping the brain sharp. People who begin to lose track of time are significantly more at risk of developing neurological conditions like Alzheimer's or dementia. Staying grounded in the present moment each day not only helps you live more organized, it also gives you the sense that you're still in charge of your life. Because once the brain starts to lose its ability to track time, feelings of confusion, helplessness, and isolation can quickly follow. So if you still wake up and know exactly what day it is, can recall what you did yesterday, or are making plans for the weekend, congratulations, your brain is doing wonderfully. And if you do sometimes find yourself getting mixed up, be kind with yourself and gently reestablish structure. Use a paper calendar, write your to-do list, or even set an alarm with a loving message like, "Time to get up. Today is a day worth living." Are you using any tricks to help keep your mind sharp each day? Share them in the comments. You might just inspire someone who's feeling a little lost. 4. You can still remember the names of new people and small details from recent conversations, a sign of a fresh brain. Let me tell you the story of Judith, 77, who lives in Austin, Texas. One morning, she attended a senior community gathering at the local library. Only her second time there. During the meetup, she struck up a conversation with a woman named Clara, 68, who had just moved from Oregon. The following week, as Clara walked into the room, she hadn't even had a chance to say hello when Judith smiled and said, "Clara, last week you mentioned you like growing lavender in your garden. I have some old lavender seeds. If you'd like to plant again, I'd be happy to bring them for you." Clara was so touched she nearly cried. In a world where people often forget one another, having someone remember not just your name, but also your interests is like being embraced by kindness. Not everyone at 77 can do what Judith does. Many begin to forget their own grandchildren's names or can't recall a conversation from just a week ago. But for those who still retain the ability to remember names, details, and events, it's a sign of a well-functioning nervous system, particularly in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for short-term memory storage. Dr. Emily Carson, a neurologist at Harvard University, once said, "Older adults who can remember names and small personal details tend to have 25% higher brain connectivity scores compared to others in the same age group. This not only shows their brains are younger, but also that they've held on to something deeply valuable: emotional connection." Judith isn't biologically exceptional, but she does have one small habit that you can adopt too. Whenever she meets someone new, she always repeats their name in her first sentence. Then, once she's home, she jots down a few notes in a small notebook. Name, something unique, and what made me like them, she says. If you can still recall the name of someone you've just met, or remember the contents of a phone call from last week, congratulations. Your memory and emotional connection are still thriving like a flourishing garden. And if you feel that those memories are starting to fade, try Judith's method. Take notes, repeat the name, and connect with your heart. Have you ever been touched when someone remembered your name? Share that story in the comments, and maybe it'll be a gentle reminder for someone else that memory is one of the purest forms of love. 5. You always remember what needs to be done each day. without having to write it down. At 76, Mr. Henry, a retired postal worker living in Ohio, still maintains a tidy and sharp lifestyle that earns the admiration of his neighbors. Every morning, he wakes up at exactly 6 a.m., makes coffee, feeds his cat, then prepares to walk to the nearby park. Without any reminder notes, he always knows if today is his dental appointment, the day to buy milk, or time to visit an old friend who just had surgery. One time, his granddaughter Emma asked, "Grandpa, how come you don't need to write anything down but still remember everything?" He smiled gently and said, "The secret is I do every task with full presence. When I say I'll visit a friend, I visualize the whole meeting. When I plan something, I say it out loud to myself. That way, it gets etched into my memory." The habit of clearly remembering your daily tasks isn't just a sign of being organized. It's a testament to the health of the brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for short-term memory and decision-making. According to the U.S. National Institute on Aging, older adults who can retain this ability have up to a 40% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Not everyone has a memory like Henry's, but you can train this ability starting today. Each morning, take a few minutes to close your eyes and vividly picture 3 things you'll do that day. Then say them out loud or write them down in order. Do this for a week. You'll be surprised by the accuracy your brain can achieve. If you can still remember who you need to call today, what to buy for dinner, or when your next vaccine appointment is, take pride in the fact that your brain is still functioning smoothly. And if you occasionally forget, don't worry. Try the method of visualization and repetition. Your brain can rejuvenate in remarkable ways if you care for it with persistence. What's something you need to do today but haven't done yet? Write it in the comments to commit, and let's help each other keep our memories alive and well. Number 6, you still remember promises and commitments, even the smallest ones. At 79, Mr. Robert lives in a small town by the shores of Lake Michigan. He doesn't drive as much as he used to, but every Sunday morning he still walks to church. Not just to pray, but because he promised his neighbor, who's 10 years older than him, that he would pick her up and walk with her. "It's just a small promise," he says, "but if I forget, she'll be stuck at home all week." What's most admirable isn't the distance he walks, but the sharpness of his memory, one that still remembers others and doesn't forget the things he once said he would do. Science refers to this as prospective memory and task memory, the ability to retain what we've promised, planned, and then follow through. According to the American Brain Research Institute, these areas of the brain are among the first to decline as we age. But for people like Mr. Robert, who still remembers his medication schedule, his granddaughter's birthday, and the promise to call someone back, it's a clear sign that the brain remains agile, responsive, and responsible. Ask yourself, when was the last time you remembered a small favor someone asked, or kept a promise you made to yourself, and actually followed through? If you're still doing that regularly, you're likely carrying a brain that's much younger than your age. And if you find yourself forgetting more often, start with the little things. Write down your promises in a notebook, set gentle reminders on your phone, and truly listen when you commit to something. Because memory isn't just about what we hold for ourselves. It's also how we show love and trustworthiness to those around us. If you can still remember the small details each day, from the name of someone you just met, the location of familiar items, to promises you've made to others, then congratulations. Your brain is much younger than your actual age. While most seniors feel like their memory is slipping away day by day, you, someone who has preserved these 6 precious abilities, are walking a different path, one of clarity, intentional living, and hope. And if you find that you've lost a few of these abilities, don't feel discouraged. Consider this video a roadmap, guiding you on how to reclaim them, one step at a time. Memory, sharpness, communication, and emotional awareness aren't gone forever if you continue to care for them each day. So don't hesitate to start again. With a simple memory exercise, a more meaningful conversation, or a card that brings back an old memory, you deserve to live in a clear mind, in a life where each day still holds deep meaning. And if you found today's video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, to share which sign you've held on to, and subscribe to Senior Life 365 so we can continue walking beside you every day with healing, inspiring, and practical content for a life of strength, clarity, and fulfillment in your golden years. You are always valuable. You've never been left behind. And here, in this community, we preserve memory, emotion, and human connection together. See you in the next video.